I always knew something was off. A man like me doesn't ignore instincts, and mine had been screaming for weeks. Jennifer was acting different. She wasn't just distant, she was careful. Too careful. The way she glanced at her phone, the way she stepped out to take calls, the sudden interest in going to the gym, even though she'd never lifted anything heavier than a wine glass before. I don't tolerate disrespect. I built my life from the ground up, fought for everything I had, my business, my house, my reputation. I take what's mine and protect it with the same fuxing intensity. And Jennifer? She was mine. So I started watching. Nothing too obvious, just small tests. I'd come home earlier than usual just to see her reaction. I'd wake up in the middle of the night, pretending I needed water, only to find her phone face down on the nightstand, locked. She never used to do that. One night I tested her, slipped my arm around her waist, kissed her neck. I expected the usual response, the way she used to melt into me, the way her breath used to hitch when I touched her. But this time, she stiffened, pulled away. Excuses? Not feeling well. Just tired. Maybe tomorrow never came. I'm not a man who begs. If there's a problem, I deal with it. And this smelled like a problem. So I followed her. It wasn't hard. Jennifer was good at lying, but she wasn't good at covering her tracks. A burner phone buried in her purse. A second gym membership in a part of town she had no business being in. And then, the final insult. A motel receipt stuffed deep in her car's glove box. I should have been furious. Maybe I was. But more than anything, I was patient. A man like me doesn't explode at the first sign of betrayal. Number I waited. I watched. And tonight everything came to a head. Jennifer thought she was being clever, thought she had control. But she didn't realize this was my game now, and I always win. I met Jennifer 12 years ago. She was a waitress at some overpriced cocktail bar downtown, all dolled up in a tight black dress, pretending she wasn't waiting for a rich guy to tip her more than she deserved. I wasn't the rich guy that night. I was the guy who had just crawled out of the gutter, covered in sweat from 15-hour shifts at the shop I was building from scratch. She liked that. Or at least, she liked what she thought it meant. Strong, hardworking, a man who would break his back to build a life for her. And I did. I took her out of that hole apartment she shared with two other girls, got her a car, put a ring on her finger, bought a house, made her my wife. And when she told me she wanted kids, I made sure she had the best life possible to raise them in. We had two, Matthew and Jake, my boys. Everything I built for them. I wasn't some drunk who came home angry. I wasn't some deadbeat who let his family struggle while he wasted money at bars. No, I was the man who worked, fought, and bled to give them a life I never fucking had. Jennifer didn't have to work a day after she got pregnant with Matthew. She got the nice house, the weekends with her wine-drunk mom friends, the designer bags she swore she never cared about until she had them. And this is how she repaid me? Some fucking other man? Oh, I found out who he was. Derek. Some nobody. Some grinning, smooth-talking piece of who thought he could step into my house, put his hands on my wife, and walk away without consequences. I saw his texts. I read the messages. I can't wait to have you all to myself. You deserve better than him. I'm going to confront him. End this marriage today. That one made me laugh. End my marriage? No, motherfucker. You just ended your own life. I was still sitting in my truck outside our house when I got the call. A neighbor, panicked, screaming. Your house, police, ambulance, chaos. The words barely registered. I threw the truck into gear and flew home. Tires screeched. My hands clenched the wheel so tight my knuckles went white. And when I got there, police tape, red and blue lights flashing, officers swarming the lawn, Jennifer standing outside, pale as a fuxing ghost. And me? I stepped out, calm as ever. She ran to me, hands shaking, eyes wide with terror. Derek, he said he was going to... I looked past her, saw the ambulance, the paramedics loading up a stretcher. A body bag. One of the officers turned to me. You the husband? I nodded. He exhaled, shaking his head. Some guy broke into your house. We think your wife might have known him. Jennifer was trembling. I could hear her breath hitching, see the way her knees were ready to buckle. And me? I just smiled. I took care of it. Jennifer thought she was clever, thought she could play both sides and come out clean. But she wasn't just cheating. No, it was worse than that. She was planning her exit. And not just any exit. She wanted to take everything from me. See, women like Jennifer don't just wake up one day and decide to burn their lives down. It starts small, tiny justifications, little lies they tell themselves. He's too controlling. He doesn't appreciate me. I deserve more. They start believing their own bulls. And before you know it, they're sitting across from some snake in a suit, planning out how they're going to gut you in court. That's exactly what she was doing. While I was busting my ass keeping our family comfortable, Jennifer was out with her lawyer friend, figuring out how to strip me down to nothing. The house? Her in full custody of the boys? Her in half of everything I'd built from scratch? Heron and Derek. He was more than just a fling. He was her fucking plan. A safety net. The idiot who filled her head with fantasies about running away together. Some broke-ass gym trainer who thought he could slide in, take my wife, raise my kids, and live in the house I paid for. That's why he came that night. That's why he was so bold. Jennifer told him she was ready. Told him I was the problem. Told him I was dangerous. So Derek, being the dumb fucking hero he thought he was, decided to take matters into his own hands. He didn't just show up to confront me. No, Derek showed up to take what he thought was already his. And that was his mistake. The cops had questions. Of course they did. A dead man in my house, a scuffle, a broken chair, blood splattered across the floorboards. He broke in, I told them, tried to attack me. I defended myself. Legally? I was in the clear. Castle doctrine. He came into my house uninvited, and I did what any man would do. But Jennifer knew the truth. She wasn't looking at the cops. She was looking at me. And she knew. Knew that I wasn't surprised when Derek showed up. Knew that I wasn't panicked when I fought him off. Knew that I had been waiting for this moment. Because when Derek stormed in, ready to play the white knight, I saw it in his eyes. He had no effing idea what kind of man he was dealing with. He thought I was some clueless husband, some passive idiot he could intimidate. But I'd seen his type before. Soft hands, no scars. A man who lived his whole life with no real consequences, so when he came swinging, I let him get the first hit. Let him think he had a chance. Then I made sure he never got another. Jennifer still hadn't spoken. She was still standing there, shaking, watching as the paramedics zipped Derek up in that black bag. She wasn't crying, not for him, not yet. She turned to me, voice barely above a whisper. You knew he was coming. I didn't deny it, didn't have to. Instead, I stepped in close, lowered my voice so only she could hear. You were going to leave me, take my kids, take my money, run off with him. She flinched. I smiled. How's that working out for you? For the first time in her life, Jennifer was speechless. The cops finished their questions. The body was taken away. Jennifer sat on the front steps, silent, arms wrapped around herself. I walked past her, heading inside. But before I did, I leaned down, just enough for her to hear me one last time. Try to take my kids from me, and you'll be in a body bag next. I shut the door and locked it. Jennifer didn't sleep that night. I could hear her in the guest room, curled up under the blankets, breathing shallow. Every time a floorboard creaked, she tensed. She thought I was going to kill her next. And maybe she was right to think that. By morning, she still hadn't said a word to me. She just moved like a ghost, eyes red, fingers shaking as she poured herself a cup of coffee. But her hands were so unsteady she spilled it all over the counter. She flinched, expecting me to snap. I didn't. I just watched. Let her feel it. Let her sit in the ruins of what she tried to build. Derek wasn't coming to save her. Her perfect little escape plan had been buried 6 feet under. And now, she was mine. Around noon, her phone rang. She didn't answer, but I did. Jennifer? A woman's voice. Her lawyer. I could hear the concern dripping from her words. Are you okay? What happened? I looked at Jennifer across the kitchen table. She was frozen, staring at me like a deer in the headlights. I put the phone on speaker. She's fine, I said. Her boyfriend, though? Not so much. Silence. Then a nervous inhale. What do you mean? I chuckled. I mean, he tried to take something that wasn't his. And now he's dead. Jennifer sucked in a sharp breath. Her lawyer stammered. Jennifer, what is he talking about? Jennifer said nothing, didn't move, didn't breathe, because she knew if she told the truth, if she tried to spin some story to make me the villain, I'd bury her next. So she sat there, silent. And I smiled. Looks like there won't be a divorce after all. Then I hung up. Jennifer was still staring at me, shaking, clutching the edge of the table like she was going to pass out. You're a monster, she whispered. I leaned in. No, Jennifer. I reached across the table, tucking a strand of hair behind her ear. I'm your husband. Jennifer didn't try to leave. She couldn't. Oh, she thought about it. I saw it in the way her eyes flicked toward the door when she thought I wasn't looking. The way she hesitated before answering my questions, like she was calculating her odds. But she knew better now. There was no running, no escaping, no calling the cops. What was she going to say? My husband killed my lover after he broke into our house, and now I'm scared of him. Good luck with that. So she stayed, and I made sure she understood exactly what that meant. The day after Derek's body was hauled off my property, Jennifer moved through the house like a ghost. She barely spoke, barely ate. She avoided looking at me, but I could feel her eyes on my back every time I turned away. By evening, I decided enough was enough. She was standing at the sink, rinsing a plate, hands trembling under the stream of water. I stepped in behind her, close enough that she could feel my breath on the back of her neck. She stiffened. You've been quiet, I murmured. She swallowed hard, staring down at the sink like it had the answers she needed. What do you want me to say? I reached past her, turned off the faucet, felt her flinch when my fingers brushed hers. I want to hear you say it. Her breath hitched. Say what? I leaned in, lips brushing her ear. That you understand. Jennifer squeezed her eyes shut. Her shoulders rose and fell with every shaky inhale. You're a psychopath, she whispered. I smiled. And you're still my wife. She turned then, slowly, eyes searching my face, looking for some sign of hesitation, some weakness. She found none. Instead, she found a man who had taken back what was his. Her lips parted as if she wanted to say something, maybe an insult, maybe a plea. But she swallowed it back down. She understood. And I let that silence stretch between us, until she finally dropped her gaze and nodded. Good girl. The next morning, Jennifer was up before me. That never happened. She had coffee ready, breakfast on the table, and when I sat down, she was already dressed, makeup done, hair perfect, moving around the kitchen like everything was normal, like she was trying to pretend. I watched her, amused, as she poured me a cup. Taking the boys to school? I asked, sipping the coffee. She nodded. Then I have a few errands to run. She was testing me, seeing if she still had freedom, if I'd let her go anywhere alone. I tilted my head, considering her. Then I smiled. All right, I said. Her brows flickered with surprise, but she masked it quick. Okay. She thought it was that easy. She thought I'd loosen my grip. She had no idea. At 10:32 a.m., Jennifer walked into a cafe across town. At 10:34 a.m., she sat down across from her lawyer. At 10:36 a.m., she leaned in, whispering. At 10:37 a.m., I sent her a text. Smile, sweetheart. From across the street, I watched her flinch. Then she lifted her head, looked around, searching for me. Her hands clenched into fists. Her breathing quickened. Then, slowly, carefully, she forced a smile. Good girl. Jennifer didn't reply to my text. She just sat there, rigid, forcing that fake little smile while her lawyer prattled on, completely unaware of the real conversation happening. I watched from my truck, parked half a block away. She had no idea where I was, but she felt me. That was enough. I could see the wheels turning in her head. She thought she was being smart, thought she could salvage this. Maybe get a restraining order, disappear with the kids, run to some family member for protection. It almost made me laugh. She still didn't get it. There was no running, no winning. The moment she let another man put his hands on her, she lost every fucking card she thought she had. At 10:41 a.m., Jennifer finally excused herself from the table. Her lawyer frowned, confused. "We still need to discuss your options." "There are no options," she muttered, grabbing her bag. "This was a mistake." And just like that, she walked out. When she got back to the house, I was already there, waiting. She hesitated at the door, keys trembling in her hand. She knew I knew. Still, she tried to play it cool. She stepped inside, closed the door behind her. "I ran into Claire today. A casual tone, a little too forced. She said we should do a couples retreat. Thinks it could help." I chuckled. "That's so?" She nodded. Maybe it wouldn't be the worst idea. I took a slow sip of my drink, watching her. "You think a weekend getaway is going to fix this?" Jennifer swallowed hard. "I think it's worth a try." She was stalling, buying time. That was fine. I let her have it. For now. That night, she curled up in bed beside me, stiff as a corpse. She was pretending to sleep, but I knew she was awake. Lying there, thinking, panicking. I turned toward her, brushing a strand of hair off her cheek. Her breath hitched. "Relax," I murmured. She didn't move, didn't respond. I smiled in the dark. "Sweet dreams, sweetheart." She didn't sleep at all. Jennifer didn't fight me after that. Oh, she wanted to. I could see it in the way her jaw clenched when she thought I wasn't looking, the way her hands tightened into fists every time I touched her. But she knew better. She knew there was only one way this ended, and it wasn't with her winning. 3 weeks passed. 3 weeks of pretending, of Jennifer playing the role of the perfect wife, cooking meals, taking the kids to school, smiling when our friends came over. But I could feel it. That tension, that fear. It was in every breath she took, every forced laugh, every careful step she made around me. She had stopped wearing makeup, stopped dressing up, stopped talking unless she had to. Because she wasn't Jennifer anymore. She was something hollow, something broken, something mine, and I should have been satisfied. But I wasn't, because I knew she was still thinking about escape. She'd never be stupid enough to try again, not after what happened to Derek. But the thought was there. The hope was still there. And that couldn't stand. The breaking point came on a Sunday. The boys were outside playing. The sun was setting, casting long shadows across the yard. I was on the porch, watching them, a cold beer in my hand. Jennifer was inside, washing dishes. I called her name. She hesitated before stepping out. "Yeah?" I didn't look at her, just nodded toward the kids. "You love them?" She blinked. "Of course I do." I finally turned to face her. "Good." Then I pulled out my phone and showed her the photos. She froze. A dozen pictures, clear as day. Her lawyer's office, the papers she had almost signed, the hidden account she'd set up to funnel money away. A single one-way plane ticket, one she never got the chance to use. Jennifer's hands trembled. "Where did you—" I slipped the phone back into my pocket. "Doesn't matter." She started breathing faster. I wasn't." I stepped in closer, lowering my voice so only she could hear. "If you ever even think about trying something like that again, Jennifer." I tilted my head toward our sons. "They'll wake up one morning without a mother." Her breath hitched. Her knees buckled. She gripped the railing like she was going to collapse. I leaned in, lips brushing her ear. No more thinking about running. No more fantasizing about escape. No more fucking hope. I pulled back, looking her dead in the eyes. "You belong here." Her body was shaking so hard I thought she might pass out. Then, finally, she nodded. "Good girl." That night, Jennifer didn't just sleep beside me. She curled into me. small, defeated, clinging. And this time, when I brushed my fingers through her hair, she didn't flinch. Because she wasn't afraid anymore. She was gone. Empty. Mine. And for the first time since this all started, I was satisfied. Jennifer stopped fighting after that, stopped thinking, stopped being. The woman I married, the one who used to laugh too loud at bad jokes, who used to argue with me over dumb shit like where to order takeout. She didn't exist anymore. In her place was something else. Something quiet, something obedient, something mine. Weeks passed. She didn't leave the house without me, didn't make phone calls unless I was in the room, didn't do anything unless I allowed it. The boys didn't notice. To them, nothing had changed. Mom was still there, still making them breakfast, still tucking them in at night. But I noticed the way she moved, slow, careful, like she was underwater. The way she spoke, soft, hesitant, waiting for permission. The way she looked at me, not with hate, not with anger, with nothing at all. And I liked that. I liked it a lot. One night I found her sitting on the edge of the bed, staring at nothing. Her hands were folded neatly in her lap. Her hair was brushed, her makeup wiped off. She looked serene, peaceful, like something that had finally accepted its place. I sat down beside her, tilting my head. Yo, you happy, sweetheart? A long silence, then finally, yes. Software automatic. Honest, I smiled, brushed my fingers down her arm. Good girl. She leaned into me without hesitation because she understood now. This wasn't a marriage. This wasn't love. This was ownership. And she was exactly where she was meant to be, with me forever.